Glad to have you join us on Core Digest today. Still on the June 12 pronouncement, matters arise, and it was last Wednesday that in a press statement, the President Muhammadu Buhari did declare June 12 now Nigeria's Democracy Day instead of May 29th, as we've celebrated for the past 18 years. This is in honor of the presumed winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, which was ultimately annulled, and that is Chief M.K.O. Abiola. And I have with me in the studio this morning Wale Onwade, a legal practitioner and President Voters Awareness Initiative, as well as Oladotun Hassan. He's the President, Yoruba Council of Youth. Thank you very much for joining me today, gentlemen. Right, let's begin with you, Oladotun. You're the President, Yoruba Council of Youth. What is the opinion of your group, of your people, regarding the pronouncement of June 12 as Nigeria's Democracy Day?
Yes, we are not so surprised for the date, because this has been in the news for over 25 years. The memories of June 12 is like our freedom, it's like our freedom from colonial masters and neo-colonial masters that we find ourselves in. And the announcement came within a period of a trying times of Nigeria, and most of our agitations are not yet met. June 12 is not a relief to our pains, but it's just to create the needful approach to how best do we begin to agitate for what is right, and that's what June 12 stands for. Well, greater appreciation to Mr. President for granting the proclamation order and of the GCFR to late M.K.O Abiola, President-elect, and also his vice, that is Babagana Kingibe, as GCON, and posthumously also to Chief Gani Fawemi, and most importantly, the date of changing May 29 to transforming May 29 to June 12, which is very significant fact. And most importantly, the will of the people have not yet been released.
What's the will of the people?
That is the vote. That is the vote that the people voted for. That is the sovereign right of the people. And
the result of that election.
The result of that election is the will of the people. If the will of the people is still caged, you can't give people half as that freedom. It won't be better appreciated. And if the will of the people needed to be given a well-defined motive, Abiola is still, even if it's granted tomorrow the GCFR posthumously, that means legally, without much ado, it's as if you are swearing him in as the substantive president in waiting, because it will be in waiting because there is still an existing leadership. Maybe consequently there might not be election in 2019. So there are a lot of other issues that will need to be, because you must have served the tenure that you have been elected into. And I believe that Abiola never served for one day. He only make his proclamation as the true winner of that election at Epetedo, and that proves him right, because it was well acknowledged by IBB, President Ibrahim Badamasi-Babangida, that was the freest election. That reason best knows to him, he just have to annul the election. He knows what is behind, and that is why, in as much as the culprits of this evil are still alive, there's a need for proper inquiry. We are not putting that the June 12 should just be a lot of in as much as the family, everybody acknowledges and is full of appreciation for that date. Our appreciation is haphazard. We just need to be very, very concise. Most of what Abiola stands for is devolution of power, restructuring welfare of the people, and these things that he stood for are still our bane till date. So I don't think there is any more to be appreciated, but for us to go into sober reflection, for us to see tomorrow as a date of reckoning, as a date for us to really reanalyze our future as a nation.
All right, let's come to Wale at this time. He has mentioned that declaring June 12 as Nigeria's Democracy Day is not entirely a relief, because there is a more that the people expect, and that is declaration of the results of that poll.
all these issues are work in progress. There are so many issues, legal, political, and even moral, that are attached to this. But the first thing is that indeed there is official recognition. Those of us in the trenches for more than 20 years, this is what we've been clamoring for. That there must be recognition. That the government must recognize that indeed an election took place, and that there was a winner, and that winner, though dead, must be given that respect. Once that is done, then there are other people who fought for the entrenchment and for the reality of that thing. And there are so many stakeholders, there are so many people in the line of action. Then the second one, indeed, is that we now want to look at it. How do we prevent such a recurrence in the future? And that's where the legal framework will come in. And it's a whole lot of work to be done. But before I go on, I've gone through, I've been involved and of course been reading the social media, and the impression I have is that the June 12th thing, and of course during the struggle itself, 25 years ago, 24 years ago, particularly 21 years ago, when June 12 was a big issue in Nigeria, it was seen as a Southwest issue. And of course it wasn't, because I know some of my colleagues that were in the trenches together. Some of them are dead, people like Babada Kautu, people like Chima Ubani. They are not Yoruba people. I know, of course, Alice Olisa Agbakoba, who was one of our leaders. I know, of course, Osita Okechukwu. They are Igbo people. And of course, there is this Nasir Kura in the north. There are so many of them that are northerners. Of course, Dangiwa and Air Commodore Dan Suleiman, that he said he lost. We are together. Meeting. We are together. They were the ones sacrificing. And of course, we saw them as big men, former military governor, descending to becoming, like as they call them, riffraffs together to ensure that such dream became a reality. Obviously, it's not a Southwest issue. And I hope that some people are listening, and they should put an end to this nonsense called putting the June 12 as a Southeast issue, as a Southwest issue. This thing was all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe or political divide, came together to vote this pair. And after that, we saw what the military did through Babangida. And of course, because they had the gun, people like us never wavered. People like Falano, we were their errand boys then, we were the one who were busy putting posters all around for Chief Abiola, for Beko and Sankuti and so on. We ensured that indeed the struggle was on when they were locked up in Kuje. But that's not the issue. The issue here is that now that government has come, and of course it doesn't matter, if government decide not to take it further, we'll continue to struggle. Because in the Aluta world, it is Aluta Continua, Victoria Asata.
Now, June 12 has been recognized, and tomorrow, June the 12th, we'll have that honor, that investiture for them. A number of people have been invited to participate in that. But let's look at the legal implications of this declaration. Because even lawyers themselves have threatened, to take the government to court over this issue.
Let's leave it that way. You see, equity, we are talking about equity now. And equity is done. That which ought to be done. We are talking about equity. And if I want to go moral, truth is a wound that only conscience can heal. Truth is a wound that only conscience can heal. Just like Peter Touch, I guess it's Peter Touch, not Peter Touch said, everyone is talking about peace. No one is talking about justice. Here is a family and some people who lost their life. I missed death by the whiskers in the trenches. I missed death by the whiskers during the days of the day that Agbakoba was booted in Yaba bus stop. I was there. We are tear gas. I have a colleague till today, he's blind. The tear gas is in his eyes. Many of us died in the struggle. Not that we are paid, just the passion, just like now here.
But still again.
No, I'm going there. I'm still
Yes,
going to the legal aspect. I'm going to the legal
okay,
aspect.
because we need to touch
So you
on
see,
it.
all those who are, they are just playing politics.
Which people?
All those who are all those who are against the actualization, all those who are against this move taken by Buhari, because they all had the opportunity. They said it wasn't doable, and we say, what is not doable there?
But I know that the declaration itself, some people have checked. It's political
That's
calculation.
If it's political calculation, what stopped them from day two taking advantage of it when they had the opportunity of taking it and making it a political calculation? What stops them? The issue is that God has put it in the heart of somebody that, look, let me do justice for once. And will you begrudge him? They now say they want to put some. And of course, you can be sure that tomorrow, all they need now, that what they are doing, all this roundabout, of course, government has the willpower. All they need is for government to gazette. Once there is a gazette, that's all.
And so the gazetting is the thing. We know the National Assembly, the Senate, for instance, has directed its committees on business and ethics to go consider the issue and look at the legalities so they can make it formal, and even charging them not to be blinded by whether or not it is political, but to see it as justice for Abiola. How do we ensure that it is institutionalized, it is constitutionalized, such that it's not seen as going in error?
Well, we are experiencing a protracted democracy in Nigeria, and that is where our situation becomes like a veto. Every day we wake up, especially within the era of this administration, most especially they have not been all rule of law in place. It's all mostly we see more rule of laws and antics, or what really schemings that looks like democracy. And that's why the declaration came as a surprise. Like somebody woke up from the slumber and just say, you haven't consulted widely. If the consultation were widely done, I don't think the National Assembly ought to be to be coming behind the door to challenge the views. But not just because it's going to be gazetted, but if you stand on a you cannot use illegality to cure legality. No matter how sane it might sound, we see this not just as a Buhari thing. If I have to extrapolate the whole issue, Buhari himself cannot be insulated from the errors of June 12. He sat within the government that are not June 12. He was part and parcel of the process of that government. Even in his administration, he praised the Abacha era. It was part and parcel. There's no way you have to insulate Olusegun Obasanjo. There's no way you have to insulate IBB. This is a big issue that even the person that declared this issue date find it so discreet not to come fully to the fore. And justice needs to be manifested, needs to be done, and for it to be properly done, the presidency have done us a very good omen. Yes, giving us that recognition, putting it to the fore that yes, is ready to gazette it. Yes, we definitely is a presidential fiat. It needs to be gazetted. Definitely, in as much as those are his premonitions, the major things also to be done is that how then do we begin to make tomorrow the beginning of a new era in Nigeria? Not politically, not to score cheap popularity. This shouldn't be a praises for 2019 election. Okay. It shouldn't. And Nigerians should not see it as a carrot and stick approach.
A statement released yesterday, released by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, he mentioned some categories of people who were part of the annulment process. He mentioned military officers, the elites, judges, money bags, and all those. And he also mentioned that only the president has to make the decision whether or not those people should be probed and should be prosecuted. What do you think be done to those people?
As I rightly said, there is more to it. The best the president can do is to set up a special inquiry, commission of inquiry.
We've had several commissions of inquiry set up, committees, panels.
On these, because the president, we've gone by, it is a treacherous journey. It's a very, very long walk to freedom. Though we have not yet attained our expectation. But one key thing is that a special inquiry, investigative inquiry, not just a normal white paper inquiry, a core investigative inquiry by the, if there is no much confidence, but at least a prosecutory investigation must be conducted into the causation of the whole issue. Because one, it's not just about M.K. Abiola that died. We are talking about homicide here. We are talking about a whole number of issues.